Hello, I'm Elizabeth Hackford, I'm the Law of Attraction Lady. Thank you for joining me for this video. I just wanted to quickly sit down and tell you about this amazing book that was initially held from public view for about 70 years. It's a book by Napoleon Hill. Now, of course, most of you will know Napoleon Hill because of his famous book, Think and Grow Rich, which is an absolute work of genius. Fantastic advice on how to change your core beliefs and manifest the dreams that you desire in all areas of your life. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, you really should. But here's another book that I actually think is an even greater work of genius, and it's called Outwitting the Devil. And I actually found this because I was just searching on the internet looking at other books by Napoleon Hill, and I came across this and I thought it looked very, very interesting. And it is indeed extremely interesting. Now, this book Napoleon Hill actually first wrote in about 1937, the same time that he wrote a lot of his most famous books. But it was prevented from being published because there's some really interesting stuff in this book about how we as a world, how the common man has been manipulated by the powers that be to believe certain things about themselves, because the conditioning that is being impressed upon us and nurturing us to have all these limiting beliefs about ourselves and where we can really go in life, this is all coming down through the education system, through society and through religion, and everything is being fed to brainwash into believing that we are not worthy of this, that or the other. And that is very much investigated in this book, Outwitting the Devil. Basically, what happens in this book is the first 50 pages or so, Napoleon Hill recounts a little bit of his story, his background. It's absolutely fascinating. He goes a lot more deeply into it than he does in Think and Grow Rich. And those first 50 pages, first 3 chapters, are really interesting in their own right. And then he goes on to this amazing conversation that he realized or he imagined in his mind with the devil. And it's about 8, 9 or 10 chapters of him asking questions, because he used to be a journalist, and him interviewing the devil in his mind, and the devil coming back with all these answers and highlighting really how 98% of the masses are just being conditioned and brainwashed to believe, act and think a certain way, and that only 2% of people have the power and the wherewithal to stand up against all of this conditioning and be who they are truly deemed to be from their spiritual calling. And it's absolutely fascinating. Now, whether or not he actually met with the devil and had this conversation, of course, is completely subject to scrutiny. You can believe what you like, but the profound comments that are coming supposedly out of the devil's mouth is incredible. And I just find this book absolutely fascinating. I learned so much through this book, and I had so many aha moments. Now, you will notice this is the version that is available currently. Now, I think Napoleon Hill is probably turning in his grave, because what they've done is that the Napoleon Hill Institute, who have produced this book, they've had it annotated by a lady called Sharon Letcher. So what you do is you read a bit, and then there'll be an interjection by her. So you see, there's her interjection, there's the original script by Napoleon Hill. At first, I started reading her commentary, so we'd get about 1,000 words of Napoleon Hill, and then she suddenly jumps on it. There's a little interjection and some commentary, and I have to say, I found everything that she said was absolutely trite and really not genius at all, and it really messed up the book. So after a while, I just stopped reading her comments, and I advise you to do the same. But what Napoleon Hill has written, which is basically 80% of what's in this book, is absolutely profound and genius. And I really urge you to take a look at this if you haven't already. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
I actually read it a couple of years ago, but every time I go back and look at it, I just think how incredible it is.